spitting venom, divisive language, words that may bring this country to its knees. I mean, what is wrong with the Rigi G? I hear he's called Rigi G. What is wrong with him? I mean, you may be acting local, but there comes a time that you respect the office. That is the office of the presidency. He should act and behave like a presidential material. And it is high time Rigathi Gachagua remembers that we are over and over with elections. We are now in the term and the duration to deliver to the people of Kenya. You know, saying, huyo mzee akikuzurura hapo State House, mimi nitakuwa hapo kwa fence. I mean, this guy is just a big joker. He should just find a better way of speaking. You know, we are not in a contest of the toughest. This is now a national conversation. And the Ruto camp being supported by Rigathi Gachagua, they are so uneasy on having a dialogue with Raila. His own focus is about elections and power sharing. And that's why I said, that is where we draw a line between a politician and a statesman. Rigathi Gachagua is just a politician interested in the current political power and the next election, while statesmen are discussing on the future of the generation to come. So it is very reckless and unusual for me, because even during the darkest days of President Moi, inclusion was a principle that manifested at the end of the day. And when we call for mass action, no one should think that authority should be sought from them. Kenya is a state partner to the international laws as far as free assembly is concerned. Under the International Covenant for Council on Civil Rights and Freedom to Assembly, 1966, Kenya is a state partner. Actually, the role or the power or the freedom of assembly has not been respected in the Kenyan's perspective, especially when the protest is against the government. The government must restrain and refrain from and restrict the use of firearms during people's assemblies, because that is where the problem begins. That is what happened in Tunisia. Tunisia will form a better part of my conversation, because I'm looking at the similarity in what transpires there or transpired there and what is actually happening in Kenya. I draw a lot of similarities as opposed to differences. So people must just learn to restrain what comes from their tongue. This is a very small component of the body, but it can burn the whole up.
Now, talking about using Tunisia as a point of reference, we do know that we all know what happened in Tunisia. Going into March 20th, what will happen? Because, and then just to point this, by the way, in South Africa as well, Malema will be leading his troops against the government on the same March 20th. Can we sort of save, because we do know what might happen on March the 20th, can we save all that from happening if we engage in a dialogue? If President William Ruto and the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga can sit down and talk about the issues at stake?
There is power in people's dialogue. Nothing cannot be solved when two sit and negotiate, two sit and converse. But the problem is the people surrounding the deputy, I'm used to President William Ruto as the deputy president. The people surrounding William Ruto, the president, are so obsessed with power that getting the name Raila Odinga and the opposition around conversation is just a nightmare to them. They are all obsessed with power, but not knowing that whereas there is no stability, even that privileges and powers they are enjoying will be a thing of the past. So it's high time we sit, talk, and discuss. But if we just act ignorant, the way I see, the president is just thumping, the deputy president is just thumping. My friend, the people's power is stronger than the people in power. The sovereign power belongs to the people of Kenya. Those are not my own words. Those are constitutionally enshrined principles under the 2010 Constitution. They have the right to freedom of assembly. We are a signatory or a state partner to international laws as far as the international convention. I would read something for you in regards to that. Kenya is a state partner to the 1966 International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights ICCPR, Article 21 of the Governance, the right to peaceful assembly, providing that the right of a peaceful assembly shall be recognized. No restriction may be placed on the exercise of the right other than those imposed in conformity with the law, which are necessary in democratic society in the interest of national security or public safety, public order or order public, the protection of the public health or morals, or protection of the rights and freedoms of others. This is a demonstration that is in the interest of the people of Kenya. The best thing the government can do is to avoid confrontation with the masses, because the day have been set. If they are not willing to negotiate with Raila Odinga, they should not send the police to the streets to go and fight these people. That will be the beginning of our end. Now, I foresee, because I know a hungry man is a hungry man. In as much as people are trying to lie to the president that the status of economy is good, I was so shocked to hear that someone was telling the president that we have managed to stabilize the economy. Yes, they have managed to stabilize the economy of the president's cronies by awarding them top state jobs, by awarding them tenders. We will come into that. You hear maize is not around in the country. But not that because we cannot import. The people around the president are dictating the terms and conditions of importation. They are actually going to import. They are not giving the Cereal Millers Association the go ahead to import the duty-free maize because they are giving them price tags.
When you say the people around the president do not want this, do not want that, that is why it is happening, are you suggesting that the president is not in control?
Yes. The president cannot run a country alone. Well, I would substantiate that because whatever these venomous vipers around the president speak is actually what the president reaffirms. So, who is who?
But for example, yesterday, Rigathi Gachagua said they will not engage the opposition in terms of, dialogue in surrounding the cost of living and the mass action. But the president, when he took the podium, he said they're ready to talk with anyone across the political divide, whether in the Kenya Kwanza, team or even in the opposition. To me, it gave a picture of two people reading from two different scripts.
Then that's why now you come into agreement that the government is not united when it comes to speaking to the public. There are people with self-vested interest in the government who act myopic and oblivious of what may actually happen. Rigathi Gachagua and his henchmen do not want anything to do with negotiations and dialogue. While William Ruto, the president, William Ruto is not a political toddler. He has been through the system. He is a Moi School of Politics graduate. He learned through President Moi. He saw what Moi saw. He knows these things. So he knows very well that if I don't do this, this may happen. So he's talking as a presidential material. But here comes a venomous deputy president going to a church pulpit, spitting venoms. I don't know what is wrong with Mount Kenya churches for that case. Because in an upright and moral society, regardless of your position, you cannot come into a church pulpit and turn it into a political podium, spitting venom, something that is going to divide the country. As the clergy, they should stand very firm and tell him, Mr. Rigiji, the deputy president, hapa leo umekuja sana. We must not entertain this here.
We can certainly say both sides of the political divide are guilty of that, because we've also seen leaders from the Azimio coalition talking matters of politics and sometimes aggressively in church. But talking about we can solve things using or through dialogue, that would give some let me say vibes of another handshake, certainly.
What is wrong with handshake? What is wrong with people working together?
It's okay. Now, let me get to my question, because some people are arguing that we've seen the effects of what we call, quote unquote, the handshake. We've seen what happened. That is the argument of some people. Now, why can't we try something else? What is so difficult in the opposition keeping the government in check and not wanting to, be in government? Because we've seen before, after the handshake in 2018, we saw, it painted a picture of we do have an opposition. It's only we have everybody's in government. And we all know what happened.
Our president should stop being hypocritical. He just said he wants a very robust, vibrant opposition. The day Raila called for mass action, the police were everywhere with barricades. For what reason? He thought that a vibrant opposition is coming to media and saying, you, the president and the Kenya Kwanza government has done this. No. The vibrant and robust opposition is going to the streets, invoking the constitutional provisions on the freedom of assembly, picketing and protesting peacefully. And Raila stated it clearly that we are going to do a peaceful protest until William Ruto will make it a violent protest. So he should keep off. Tell these boys to do the necessary. He is interested in guarding the country. Let him deploy those police to Baringo North to go and fight bandits. We are not bandits. The people of Kenya are not bandits. Those are constitutional principles that were enacted internationally and locally before even the president and all his government associates were born. He must respect them. Let the people do what they want as long as they do it peacefully, with restraints, with the preservation of the national interest. We cannot go to the streets to destroy our property. No one will come and build this country for us. No one will come and feed you. You cannot go to the streets to go and snatch Mama Mboga's mboga or avocado. No. If it is a peaceful protest, peaceful marches are happening everywhere. In Israel, just the other day, people are against Netanyahu's overhaul of the judiciary. They are actually over in millions in the streets protesting. The people's power cannot be brought down